Hi, I want to share with you something that I made a long time ago. It was my first little sound toy. It's basically just a light sensitive cell attached to an oscillator inside this box, which is attached to a speaker. And when you cover the cell, you make noise. And it's inspired me to make another version of it that that's what this video is about. But first I wanted to show you this, because it's one of my favorite little things I've ever made. I also made this little lamp to shine on the cell. So we'll bring you closer. Basically, the battery is inside of here, and it's always connected. So this is the power button, and this is the pitch knob. And if I cover this little cell here, it's cocked to the side because I bent it accidentally. But if I cover the cell here, and when I'm not positioned next to a light source, I can use this little light source, which is just a lamp with a battery in the back and a little door. And this is a vase that my stepdad made, and I put a little LED inside, and I plumbed the wires down to the battery so that I can just turn it on. So doing that made me think, what if I put some sort of cylinder around it and spun it, and it would modulate the sound. Right? So that's what I'm going to do now. Welcome to my workbench. Before I start, I do want to acknowledge that I did promise a workshop tour, but I keep piling on projects and getting the place messy, and I don't want to tour a messy workshop. Who wants to see that? So that's coming. But first, let's look at this project. The idea is that I'm going to mount this tin can sideways and drill holes in the side, put the light sensor inside, and spin it using a little rubber band or some sort of stretchy material. So I noticed right away when I started to spin that thing that it was really wobbly, and I was going to have to stabilize it somehow. And I thought maybe I could use a car that I bought for myself at a dollar store, because I was going to use the spring action from the wind-up back wheels. That never happened, but the wheels are grippy, so I'm going to use those on the inside of that drum to stabilize it so it's a nice even spin. Now I need to mount that wheel and its little axle, the axle's glued onto the wheel, so it'll need to spin inside of a hole down the center of the dowel. So I'm finding the center of the dowel using my cool little tool called a center finder, and basically just triangulates the center of anything that's within its radius. So I did want to show you my cool tool, and also my other favorite tool, the punch, that just makes a nice neat little hole for the drill to find. And I'm fitting all this together experimentally, so basically I'm just going to stick things where I think they need to be and make a little mark with my pencil and drill a hole and see if it works. So I'm just going to show a few short little clips of how I fit this stuff together and decided how to make it work. You'll see that I have drilled 3 different holes now trying to get the right height. And you'll also see how I've figured out, okay, basically that will work. Now I need to find out where to put my LDR. So I'm going to drill a little depression into the side of the dowel and sink my LDR into it so it doesn't scrape along the inside of the tin can, and then glue it down and hope that it works, and you'll see it all on video. Isn't this exciting, folks? Well, here is the little LDR, little photo sensor glued onto the dowel, and that is connected to the little circuit that makes noise. It's just a little chip that creates very low noise to very high noise depending on how much resistance this provides. And this, when it is fully covered, it provides zero resistance, so there's a really loud burst of noise. And when it's uncovered, when there's lots of light poured on it, it provides a lot of resistance, so there's no noise. And I've attached this little potentiometer to it so that I can adjust the pitch as I want. It's a really high value potentiometer, 1 mega ohm. So it'll produce lots of low tones, and it's an audio potentiometer, so that there's kind of a curve of low tones, lots of variations of low tones, and then as I turn it up, it becomes really high really quick. So that is what I want. I also put this little switch on there because I thought it was a cute little switch. I found that. I also found this. What is this? This is a speaker that I found attached to a, I don't know, in the 90s it was, I guess, considered space age speaker system. But it's really just a transducer that's glued onto this corrugated plastic sheet. And it actually does make an interesting sound. Hi, Insert Patrick here. The footage you're seeing is just me explaining, again, how an LDR works. And a little more detail I thought maybe you don't really need to hear, except that there are two different kinds. And be careful which one you get, because one of them provides a lot of resistance when it's covered and another provides zero resistance. So I'm also providing a little way to get around that by creating a circuit that inverts your signal. But we're gonna move on because it's a long video and there's lots to see. So, this way. Now I'm including this first shot of the proof of concept that the LDR does work and my little holes do line up. However, I also discovered during this process that the horizontal mount just doesn't work. My little wheel just doesn't stabilize it enough, and it just wobbles all over the place. And the band that I chose was too tight, and I didn't have enough bands. So I just gave up on this and decided to mount it vertically. So here's a little bit of footage of me gluing the motor to a magnet and mounting that onto the can from the top. I epoxied that little magnet to this motor. Then I put the other magnet inside. And then I just tested it because I was so enthusiastic to find out if it worked that I forgot to turn on the camera. So here is a demonstration that it does work. And oh, Have you seen this little motor controller of mine? I think I have it on one of my previous videos. Let's see if I can. Right. So in the future, I'm going to attach this to something so it'll suspend right above that, right there. Is that where it goes? Well, I built this case off camera because I wasn't actually sure if it would work. And also because it took a few days for me to set up the glue and to figure out how everything would fit together. So now it's here, and I decided to put the circuitry inside the bottom chamber, and out the back is a little hole for that speaker. And instead of using mains power, I just decided to use a battery. So the battery's just kind of sitting there, I guess. And I fit the two potentiometers on a panel, which I'll just shove this stuff in here. I might reconfigure this at a later date, but just kind of shove it in there and screw it in. So all that's connected through holes to the spinning can in the top and the motor, which is attached to this roof. And inside the can is, of course, the peg that has the light sensitive, or the light sensor on glued onto it. So I will bring the camera closer and show you more details. The last step is going to be taking this kind of smoky piece of acrylic and sticking it on here, because I just think that would look kind of cool. And then I will play it, and I have some ideas about how it will sound. So let me just screw this on. So as you see, I've just I've glued the motor into this bent piece of sheet metal. Actually, it's not even sheet metal. It's another can that I cut up, and I glued that magnet on there. And I will be, if I need to, I can unscrew this, and this whole piece will just lift up. And on the back, way back there, I have attached through a bolt a little LED, which will shine through these holes. And the switch will turn on the light, the oscillator, and the motor all at once. and this is the oscillator pitch control, and this is the motor control, which I've adjusted so that it'll run backwards and forwards, so it'll spin backwards and forwards. It doesn't change the sound, but it's kind of fun to watch. So I'm just gonna attach a couple brackets here and here. I think that'll hold it on. It'll look suitable for this design. I'll just go ahead and play this. Plan is I'll be recording this on a tape cassette on my model TCD 310 Mark II by Tom Baer, and also I'll taking that tape and putting it on my other tape player that has the speed control on the back. So let's just give this a try.